Everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back with you, and we have such a treat for everybody here today because a great friend of mine, a great friend of the pod is here, great friend of the show. Here is the great winner of Survivor Millennials versus Gen X. Here he is, two-time survivor. It's Adam Klein.
Thanks, Rob. That was a very great introduction. I really appreciate it.
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing so much better than I was last year.
Good. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, we saw you back in the fall, and we were together on stage in New York City during Survivor 49, and we had a very nice time that night. And I'm happy that you were up to talk about this monumental season, Survivor 50. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I was nervous that night. My confidence was at an all-time low. I just wasn't feeling myself, and it shouldn't make me nervous to go on stage and talk about Survivor. I like going on stage. I have a lot of history speaking in front of crowds. I love Survivor. I'm good at talking about Survivor. I should not have been nervous. I had a great time with you, and it helped remind me that I'm capable and that I have a lot to offer. And I just want to thank you for including me in that and asking me to co-host the live know-it-alls with you, because it did something for me.
Good. Well, I'm happy to hear that. I didn't know what came out of it ultimately, but I definitely expressed to me that night that you were, not your normal self. And I'm very happy to hear that you had a positive experience with us. And it was a really great show.
It was. And I think people had a really good time. I met the Riz God that night. And now we get to talk about him as, on track to be one of the best to ever play, maybe. So
maybe, perhaps.
That's what he's gunning for. So we'll go. Well, I hope so for him.
We'll see what happens next. But yeah, I thought this was a good spot, especially to talk to you, because I feel like that you are, so observant with all these things that I felt like that we really could talk about the entire pre-merge now, because we're going to get next week, maybe mergatory, who knows? Something crazy is going to happen.
How is this the end of the pre-merge? I can't even believe. I thought for sure, just like that. I mean, it's funny that they showed in the edit them saying, well, we were wrong every other week about there being a double elimination. Like, we've been talking about this for 2 weeks or whatever. I would have thought the same thing out there. I would have been like, there's no way we're going to get through a 24-player season in 26 days and still only vote out one person like every few days. Like, that's crazy. The end of this is going to be so hyperspeed. But merging with 17 people, I think the most ever is 13, right?
Yeah, except if you count like any of these sort of like edge of extinction-ish types of things. But I guess they did merge with a certain number at that point, even though there were more eligible players to come back. I don't feel like that we're too far off of the pace. So we typically come in at the new era, like with 13 at coming into this. So we're 4 off the pace right now. So really, if we do double...
There's also 12. There's also been 11, right?
Yeah.
Like 13 has always been the most, and now we're raising that by 4 people.
So I think that it's not as bad as it seems. I think that we can do a few different things here. So this is going to be episode 6 that's coming up. You have 13 episodes. So if you have double tribals most of the rest of the way, or almost every episode the rest of the way, and then also you end up maybe starting the finale with 6 instead of 5, like, I don't think it's quite as crazy as it's going to be. And I really felt like...
What does that look like to go into a merge and have double tribals every time? Does that mean we're splitting into 2 or 3 groups every single time in the merge?
No, I don't think that will. I think we'll certainly do it once for sure, where we'll definitely split everybody up coming up after the first tribal council, after the merge. That seems like that's what we'll normally do. But I think with the 90-minute episodes, I think we might just have... because I felt like in the 60-minute episodes, I think that was the final set, 7 and 8 in your season, I believe it was. It was that I know Sunday, and was it Will and Sunday?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
8 and 7, it was hyperspeed.
And I thought
Minutes,
those
30.
episodes, yeah, the 1 hour episodes with 2 tropical, that always felt rushed. I feel like that they would do it, a fair amount. I remember Andrea and Reynolds, I think, Andrea, I think twice went out in a double tribal council 1 hour episode. But I think that with the 90 minutes, I think it's a good use of the time.
Yeah, I mean, if that's how they do it, they do 2 episodes in 1 episode, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't trust that. Do you trust that? I think that they like to split up into smaller groups and keep mixing it up. I think they just might do that every time.
Maybe we might do that. I don't think that we'll do it as much. I could see it maybe once and maybe again, but I do think that I think it's actually kind of smart the way that they did it, because I really thought they were going to do a lot in the pre-merge. I thought it would be a lot of what we saw last night. Only the first tribe that wins is immune. 2 tribes are going to tribal council.
Yeah,
but what's great about doing it, to do it post-merge, we don't need to see the camp life of the 3 different tribes. So rather than having to see what's happening at every single camp and then see 2 different scrambles, we basically see one scene of camp life in the post-merge where we don't need to spend time with all 3 tribes. So I think it's actually a more economical use of the time to have double tribal council episodes in the post-merge.
It's also better for the player's experience, because if they did it the way that most people were imagining, then most people would have gone home pre-merge and been out early and go home and they're upset. This way, there's still 17 people out of 24 that get to make the merge and deeper in the game.
And we got to spend more time with these characters, and certainly it's not enough with these people that we've waited to come back, and we certainly didn't get to see everything we hoped we'd see. But I think that it was better to sort of kick the can down the road, have more players till later on into the game. Maybe, hopefully, it'll also mean less post-merge journeys where we're doing things where people are losing their vote, and instead of like having to fill that extra 30 minutes with little games where somebody lost their vote, or how are we going to figure this out? Or have like a two segment challenge. We can, ultimately just have 2 votes in one 90-minute episode.
And it's definitely a hell of a lot better than the Edge of Extinction.
Better than the Edge, which they did not bring back for this season, and you were happy.
Praise be.
Yes.
No, the Edge is worse.
Worse. All right, so tell me, just overall, what's been your feelings about Survivor 50? Because I don't think I've seen you, posting too much about the season, and forgive me if I missed it.
No. I don't really tweet anymore, or X or whatever the hell. I don't know. But I still watch. I'm still religiously watching and keeping up to date and everything. My content has been mainly Angelina focused. I'm just a big Angelina stan from
Can you reset
1.
that? Because you knew Angelina from before she even played.
Angelina started watching Survivor at my watch parties. So she was my student body president at Stanford University. We were friends at Stanford. We served on the same nonprofit board after we graduated. She was 2 years older than me at Stanford, but somehow, she knew everybody. This is why I had really high hopes for her going into this season, because I know that a lot of people view Angelina as sort of this meme character or whatever, that does all the negotiations and the rice stuff and the jacket stuff and all of that. But the Angelina that I know was student body president at Stanford University, knows everybody, is so well connected and friends with everyone, and so invested in people's story, and such a good listener, and just so energetic and enthusiastic, and such a good friend, and extraordinarily smart, right? And I think because she has this sort of over-the-top personality that people can sort of laugh and discount her a little bit, but I thought that would give her a good edge going into the game to potentially do quite well. And I'm just disappointed that we didn't get to see more of her.
I was thinking about this earlier today. I really was surprised that more people didn't want to work with Angelina. You heard Mike talk about this last week where that he said, "Hey, look, we all know Angelina's not going to win. She's not really looked at as somebody who is a strategic powerhouse, and maybe that people are sleeping on her to some degree. She has almost no connections left in the game with Mike White being taken out last week. I was a little bit more surprised that more people weren't looking at Angelina as a piece that they could pick up and move forward with."
Yeah, I think, and I don't know how much I'm supposed to be getting into or whatever, but I remember talking to Angelina before she went out,
Mhm.
and she was aware that people like Colby and Stephenie were targeting her
Yeah.
before the game started.
She talked about this in her preseason interviews.
Yeah. Okay, so that's out there. Right. So she knew that there was misinformation flying around about her, that she somehow had said that like she's going after the old schoolers or something like that. It wasn't true. I mean, I was talking to Andrew. She had no targets. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when
Yeah.
she heard that maybe certain people were targeting her, of course, then it's like, well, maybe do I have to go after them, or at least like I got to try to smooth this out or whatever. And then she ends up on a tribe with those people, which isn't great. And they seem to have quite a few connections. There's talk of this Zoom alliance or whatever. So I don't know how much that factored into day one and her starting tribe, but I don't think it was certainly the best draw. And I don't like. I'm not
Yeah.
here to like you know make excuses or whatever. I just, I do genuinely think it was a bit of a tough spot. There's probably more she could have done to get out of that. But I think it was a tough spot. And then with the redraw,
Yeah.
I understand Christian's position here, because it reminded me of how I viewed my relationship with Boston Rob on Winners at War. Whereas, like, if we publicly stick together, vote after vote after vote after vote, and then go into a swap or go into a merge, it's a big target. Like on Cele, if I would have stuck with Rob and Parv and Ethan and Denise, vote after vote after vote, the concern is that we're the majority on the minority tribe, and then everybody just picks us off, especially because they're made it very clear they're trying to get rid of Rob, and they would go after anyone that's close with him. So what I'm thinking, that Christian is thinking, is that if I stick with Angelina and Mike, who everybody already thinks we're together, and now I prove it with this swap draw, and we get out of this swap alive together, you go into a 17-person merge, or really any person merge, and there's 3 of them, and they voted together every time.
Yeah.
They are going to be picked off. So I understand it's a difficult spot.
Yeah.
And I understand maybe wanting to remove yourself from that. But yeah, it's just not a good position for any of them to get swapped together this early in the game, I think.
I'd love to go back to the idea of the pregame alliance, and I'd love to know from your experience going back into Winners at War, like there's always going to be rumors, and in season 40, there was like, oh, there's the poker alliance. That's a thing. We got to watch out for that. We have to break that up. Is there anything that you can do to try to, like in the case of season 40, from my understanding, the poker alliance, which I believe was what, Rob, Tyson, Kim, Jeremy, was not.
Yeah,
it wasn't really a thing, but it was weaponized by people of like, hey, we have to go after them. They have to, that's a thing. So is there any way to sort of like weaponize pregame alliances against the people who are making them?
Yes, but they have to be known in public. And the reason the Poker Alliance thing worked as a way to target these people was because it was on television. Yeah. And they joked about it. And we all knew it. We'd all seen it, right? Maybe not everybody.
We all saw the clip beforehand.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, they said, should we all make an alliance and we go back and play the game? But it was said in jest. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but that's a very random clip. Like, were people like sending that clip around? Hey, everybody, just watch, check out this.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't speak for everyone. I knew of it. I know everything.
You know everything.
I'm a know-it-all. You know what I like?
Mm-hmm.
That to me is like was one of the pieces of tape that you study, right? Anytime, and for years, anytime groups of winners gathered together, anybody who was thinking that there might be a winter season, which was most of us, we were thinking about that. I mean, come on. Sandra picked up the phone like day one after I won, and she was like, you know, us first time winners, we need to stick together, right? Because you have people, she said that. She was like, people who played their second time, like they won their second time, like they don't really count, you know? And then if you won your third time, come on. And if you won your fourth time, you're Boston Robin, you're really not that good. Like she said that to me. And I was like, yes, I want in on the Sandra train. So like the game began years before I won. Let's be real. Even if they weren't thinking winners.
You came in late to the party.
Yeah, but not too late. I mean, it was
not too late.
I had plenty. I should have been able to, you know, work it a little bit better. But there's no doubt that like but to answer your question, can you weaponize this? I mean, maybe that's something Angelina could have done, and maybe she did. And if she did, we probably don't see it because they don't want to acknowledge the existence of pregame alliances on Survivor, even though, like, of course these people talk. I don't know why we're still pretending like that's not a thing. I mean, I get it. They want to show it. If they can't show it, then it's like not great storytelling or whatever. So they do what they need to do. But like, I don't know. I say just own it, just acknowledge it. So maybe if she did say, hey, these people have a pregame alliance, but maybe she was talking to people that were in it and she didn't know were in it or whatever. Again, it's just speculation. I don't know.
She was outnumbered by the people that she would have wanted to say are in this alliance. So she did not really have a good counter move to that. If if they were on other tribes, you would think that maybe she might have been able to get the word out there.
Right. Yeah. And then you swap onto people where you sort of your options are limited because you're with Mike, you're with Christian's with Emily, and there's not a whole or Mike's with Ozzy. Like the alliance was sort of created for Angelina. And what is she supposed to do at that point? Like try to align with Steph, who she thinks they're going to try to vote out. I just don't really know. What would you do in that spot? How do you maneuver when you have like a real life friend here who's saying Christian is my guy and will never betray us? What other move is there?
So this is Angelina at last week's vote. How does she proceed?
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I feel like, well, maybe we didn't see much of her because she didn't play much of a game. I don't know. I do think that the edit feels a bit unbalanced. I would have loved to see more of Angelina, and there's definitely a lot of women that are not getting screen time on this season.
And she talked about that today.
I mean, rightfully so, right? Like, it's pretty egregious.
And the only thing I'll say is that the season's not over yet. I think you have to if there are going to be women who end up going far, maybe, and at the end of this, I think then we can make the final conclusion. And I think in the case of Angelina, I would have loved to have seen more Angelina. But as for some other people that have had low screen time so far, it doesn't mean that necessarily that it will be low screen time by the end of the season. Like if you look at like Genevieve in her first season, kind of quiet in the beginning and then loud towards the end. And I think that is the case often. And with 24 people cast, we don't really know what the formula is going to look like. But so far, not great.
How many professionals do you think Mr. Beast and Jimmy Fallon are going to get?
Well, I'm not sure if Jimmy Fallon's going to actually
No, I don't.
yeah.
We need to talk about Billie Eilish, by the way.
Sure.
Should we talk
What
about
about
this?
her? Yeah.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that they put a Billie Eilish idol on the show and couldn't get Billie Eilish to agree to like say something, anything. Like, what is the point?
Yeah.
Does she know? She's got to know.
It's unclear. Right? Jeff did give an interview where he said that they showed her a bunch of advantages, and she said, "I like Boomerang."
And why do you think he had to do an interview explaining this? Because they're embarrassed, probably, that she hasn't said anything. And I think there's okay. I don't even know if I should get into this, but it'll be fun to talk about. And look, Jeff has gone on his podcast and talked about me a few times. So maybe like I think Jeff is really actually a very sensitive soul. I think you know this. Like, did you even like me, Rob? Or
you know, like, and I can say that not unlike all humans.
Of course. Yeah. And I think that Jeff has not gotten his due flowers. Is that the right term? Due, whatever. He hasn't gotten the praise that he deserves for what he has created, how well he does his job. I mean, he is the best host on television, bar none, like by far. And he stopped getting like the Emmys. He doesn't get a whole lot of like recognition from other celebrities, I think. And I think that's given him a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And I think it's why he wants and craves the attention so much from the celebrities that do like Survivor, that do give him praise, that are invested in what he's doing, because this is everything to him and he's given it his whole life and he's so good at it. And so when they say, "We love you," he's like, "Let's get you on Survivor, right? And let's bring that in." But I think it's about how that makes him feel more than it is about like, I don't know, the fans or the show or whatever. I don't know. Am I like going crazy here?
No. I have a little bit of a different read on it where I think that Jeff, you're right, I do believe deserves more flowers in terms of, I think that the fact that Jeff has been, I think, the driving force in keeping this thing that we all know and love deeply and being a caretaker to this thing, which I don't think that there's another person that could have kept Survivor alive and thriving for now 26 years going. And he has been the caretaker of this institution, and we don't always agree with what he wants to do with the show, but we can't ever impugn the passion that he has for what he does. And I think it's admirable that he still is as passionate about doing this thing for 26 years and has not. And while maybe he has thought about doing other things, for one reason or another, he has stayed with Survivor and kept it and kept the energy going. I think that he may look at some of these celebrities as, hey, this is a means to an end of this person is popular. This person has 1 million followers. If this person tells their followers to watch Survivor, that's only going to increase the cultural footprint of Survivor. And then I think you're right that Jeff, I think, probably feels some type of way when this like a new thing comes along and everybody's like, "Ooh, shiny new thing. This is great. Oh, this is the greatest thing ever." And Jeff is probably a little bit like, "Hey, well, what about this? This is an institution here. Do you have any idea what we've done? Do you have any idea what we're doing over here?" And then, but you're old news. We don't really care about this. This is, but I think that the celebrities afford the show the opportunity to say, hey, we're hot, we're relevant. And I think it brings in their mind, hopefully, new eyeballs to this thing. And I think that they're always chasing hey, new people, check this out. Like, hey, Gen Z, don't you want to watch Survivor? But I think it comes at the expense
Do you think
of
this is a calculated move by the show rather than like Jeff thinking, I want to get my celebrity friends like involved in this because it feels good?
Do you think that Billie Eilish is one of Jeff's friends?
I think maybe he would like that. Maybe.
I think
this is.
I don't think that Jeff wants to hang out with Billie Eilish.
Maybe not. Look, I know nothing. Jeff has never called me outside of the show. I've never talked to him outside of the show. Like, I know nothing. But when I see him like sort of, get upset with people who go on other shows, right? Or who don't show the utmost like loyalty to Survivor, that if they ever say anything even negative or whatever, I think it's easier to punch down on those Survivor contestants that he feels like has betrayed the show in some way or betrayed him in some way than to say, hey, what the heck? Why haven't I gotten an Emmy in 15 years?
Well, I don't think you could say that. I don't think that's...
that's my point. You can't say that. So it's easier to say, okay, like my own people should be the most loyal.
Right.
Like, these are my people, my survivors. I put you on the show.
Yeah, I'm trying not to push back too much of this because I don't think it's necessarily the same thing of like, hey, I don't like that Carolyn went on The Traitors and I should get an Emmy. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily the same, like one in the same. Like I feel like it's maybe
over psychoanalyzed.
I feel like maybe there's like 9 steps that are also like in between it, but I think that Survivor does feel a little slighted in terms of that they should be more celebrated and decorated by on
right about that.
Awards. Yes. And maybe part of why they get upset with people who are doing other things are that, hey, you are, helping other people get those accolades. But I think that probably
Traitors getting Emmys for casting when they're just casting the people that have been cast on other shows.
Yeah, like I think they feel like, hey, I would say that I could tell you that I think I would feel the same exact way if people were taking, like, we have a network, we have a ton of podcasters, and if there was like some new podcast network came along and was like, hey, this podcaster is like a hot podcaster on RHAP, I'm gonna offer them more money to go podcast for me. I'll tell you, I would be real freaking pissed about that. And especially to like not get like a heads up that, hey, that happened. And that I just see like the news of like, hey, great news. Puya is working for like XYZ podcast. So like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's anyway, I feel bad that I feel like I've derailed our season 50 conversation a little bit. But,
no, I think listen, we love the show
more than anything. Like Survivor contestants, we love Jeff Probst, and it kind of hurts when he doesn't love us back.
Yeah. Well, I think that it is, and this is, I think, such an interesting meta discussion. I think too many of us, he is father. And I think that in your family, people have like tense relationships with their dads where, and he is dad to 751 of us. And it's like, oh, you like him better than us. And you weren't there when I was a kid. And now you're trying to be nice, but where were you when I was going through a hard time? And, people have strained relationships and probably in fairness to Jeff, not to be a huge Jeff apologist here, but if you're, I bet that's freaking hard that you have 751 people that want so much from you. And it's like, hey, like, this is just my job. Like I didn't know I had to be like caretaker to all these people. And not to say that the show couldn't do a better job of taking care of some of the contestants, but I do think that part of it's also like probably hard on Jeff.
Yeah, and then he's human and he has certain people that he connects with and feels closer to and establishes bonds, and then there's jealousy, and then it's like, you like my brother and not me. What's
Yeah, I only have 2 kids and it's freaking hard. Imagine 751. I'm like, Dad, how come Dominic got to go to the thing and I didn't get, and Dominic had ice cream and I didn't.
Right. Like, I feel that too. Like, even with like all the events for season 50, I'm jealous and bitter too. I didn't get to go to anything for season 40, right? Like,
Yeah.
we were on the biggest season of all time at that time, they said, or whatever. And then they have this big premiere and they only invite half of the people to the premiere. I never even heard about it. You know what I mean? And I already felt like I was last on the list to go on the show. It's just like, dang, man, like, what the heck? Like,
okay, well, let me go back to Survivor 50. And that was like, listen, that's super interesting, always relevant to, you know, the meta talk about Survivor. I would love to get your thoughts on Charlie. And I think that Charlie, to me, is somebody who I think that is probably an Adam Klein type. Is that fair to say?
For sure. Yeah. Or Adam's a Charlie type. I don't know. How relevant am I at this point? That's what.
Well, I don't think you can be a Charlie type. I think it goes by whoever came first.
Whoever came first. Okay, fair enough.
Right. Now you have a beautiful story of a win, a unanimous win. That is not the story that Charlie ends up having, and it was such a big storyline here of that Charlie what really felt some type of way about Rizzo, who didn't vote for his number 1, even though he really did. That's like the great like, Shakespearean part of it.
It is. Yeah. The fact that he did actually like vote for his number 1 and he was lying about that in the game because Savannah was in the game and he didn't want to be seen as too close with him. And even after she was voted out, he still has to keep up that lie because if he's already said it to other people, then he has to continue that going. I totally like understand why Rizzo would continue to lie about that, but it's just hilarious that then becomes the thing that whatever. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, want to get your perspective on all of it.
I have a few things to say about Charlie. I mean, first of all, I think that he didn't intend for this to be his whole story. That's my guess.
Of course,
right?
Not. Yeah.
I think he thought that this would be a fun bit that would be played while Rizzo was voted out. And it would be a part of the Rizzo vote out, not his whole story. He wasn't expecting to only go to one tribal council and get voted out here. And so I'm sure that like there's a little bit of hamming this up that is happening here. That's my guess. Also, he may have talked about it 5 times and they aired 4 of the times he talked about it.
Yeah, I think it's a good point where I think that for Charlie, that maybe this is like a more sexy way to talk about, hey, I want to vote Rizzo out, who it happens to be
maybe
like, there's
because
probably
of pregame alliances or something that they can't air, right?
Well, maybe because of pregame alliances, but also maybe because he's the only person that was from the original Vatu tribe, and Charlie is there with 4 people from his original tribe. And so rather than like, that's kind of boring of like, well, he's the only person from the red tribe, so we're going to vote him out. Or I don't know him. He was on Survivor 49. I like all these other people. I know them. We don't know him. Also he was on the other tribe. Yeah. But, he told me he didn't vote for number 1. And that's now we got something.
So I think it was a bit, personally, but in every good bit is a little bit of truth. And I do think that Charlie brought baggage into the game, right? I think people are overemphasizing the degree to which this is true, because again, I think it was a bit, and I'm sure he talked about other things, and the producers just latched onto this as the funniest thing that they had for him. But there's no doubt that he's holding some trauma from the way that his season ended. And I do think that when you enter a new situation, holding the baggage of your previous situation, it affects the way that people interact with you. I think that I try to be really conscious of this in my life now. having been through something that was extraordinarily difficult in my divorce, and feeling hurt and betrayed and abandoned and all of the things, and then having to engage with my friends and potential future partners or whatever it might be. Like, I felt when I was first going through my separation and divorce, like I was a burden on my friends. Like I wasn't fun to be around because I was so in my head. I wasn't present. I was living in the past and the future, and still am in some ways, much better. But like it impact, and then you're self-conscious about how you're coming across in the now, because I feel like I'm being a suck on the people that I'm around, and all of that, like, sort of cycles. And I don't, again, I think I'm psychoanalyzing a little bit too much and putting a little too much of my own stuff onto other people. But I do think that there's a little bit of like, okay, if I come into this game and I'm looking out for the things that hurt me last time, you may miss things because it's not going to happen the same way. Just because somebody is an older woman doesn't mean they're going to treat you the same way. Or just because this person voted for somebody that's not his best friend doesn't mean that's how he's going to vote on the jury this time. It has nothing to do with you, right? And so when you come back too soon and you haven't processed these things, and I think we can say the same for Aubrey in Edge of Extinction, right? It can negatively impact your relationships and the way that you play the game. And I think that there's probably some truth to that in how Charlie was presenting and being received.
Thank you for sharing that. It's very brave for you to talk about your personal life in such a way, and
An open book. I always have.
No, I appreciate it. People coming on the podcast and not being so guarded, and being able to open themselves up to having that type of conversation. So I just want to say I really appreciate that. How does a player move forward knowing that they have that kind of baggage, where you said that if you don't acknowledge it, you'll miss stuff, but how do you know that you aren't missing the things?
I mean, I think being present and focusing on who is actually in front of you, and not ascribing things that remind you of somebody else, because they are not that person. And they should, and it makes sense why people, when they come in with baggage and they come in with walls, they may see somebody that reminds them of somebody who hurt them in the past and think, I don't necessarily want to play with that person, right? But you close yourself off to potentially good people, to potentially good allies. And I think that and this is not easy. Look, I've been struggling with this for the last year. How do you live in the present? I don't know the answer to that question. I've spent a lot of time at night, especially, thinking about what went wrong in the past and what I'm scared of in the future. But the more time that passes, the easier it becomes. And the more you surround yourself with people who do have good intentions for you and can show you that. And this is like what I was talking about with you inviting me to co-host the Live Know-It-Alls in New York. It reminded me of who I was. And it helped me get out of focusing on what's wrong with me and what I'm scared of in the future. And so you have to welcome those opportunities. You have to say yes to people bringing you in, even if you feel like you're a burden or whatever. And I don't know exactly what that means in terms of Charlie in this game of like, is there somebody that maybe it's Cirie, right? Maybe it's being more open with Cirie. Maybe he saw Cirie as like an older woman who's going to burn him and whatever. And he wouldn't maybe make the relationship with Cirie that Rizo is building with her because it might remind him too much of.
Well, he didn't want to go there with Christy. I think it's hard to not see Cirie as Cirie, but he didn't necessarily, want to get too close with Chrissy.
But he may have thought the same with Cirie because look, they had an alliance that didn't involve Cirie, right? It was the original Kalu or whatever. So what's Kalu. That? Charlie, Jonathan, Kamilla,
Dee and Kamilla.
And Dee. Okay. So if you have your group, do you really want to get close to somebody like Cirie, who you see as maybe on the way out the door, similar to what he was saying about Chrissy? He's like, I like Chrissy. So he wasn't even that he didn't like Chrissy. He was saying, I like Chrissy. I'm just not going to go out on a limb for her when the tide is turning against her.
Yeah.
The same thing may have been happening here where he was like, I have my group. I don't want to get in trouble by making relationships with people that are outside of that group because people already see me as a strategist. I just played. People think that I'm really good at the game. So I have to not do those things. Again, baggage, right? I have to change the way that I play and not make relationships with everyone because then people will clock me and see me as a threat. And so he then maybe shifts gears, changes the way that he plays, and then doesn't build the relationships that he needs, and certainly not in time. That was one of the other things that people kept saying. He's coming to them too late.
Yeah. You've used the word baggage. This episode was called Open Wounds. I think that it's been such a great theme for this season of these players dealing with the wounds and the scars from the battles that they went through earlier. Now, you came into season 40, the last returning player season, with 19 other winners who some had lost before, but others were one-time winners and had games where you would think that they would not have had a lot of open wounds. But we saw in the case of Michelle, who talked about how she was perceived amongst others, that even amongst the winners, there are open wounds. Did you see a lot of these open wounds really playing a big part in season 40?
1000% yes. And it's not necessarily wounds of pain all the time, but maybe wounds of ego, right? Because you have people who have a reputation and they have something to lose. People respect them. People root for them. People think that they are smart. And so they played safe. Right? I had the luxury of people not thinking that I was smart, which was great. So then I could go and be stupid, and people were just like, "That's just."
They didn't think you were smart.
Well, they thought I was messy at the very least.
Messy, yeah.
Messy,
I could see messy. I could see, but smart, I'd be surprised if somebody just thought you weren't smart.
Maybe, sure, fair enough. Okay, the point is that like when you have something to protect, it changes the way that you behave. So, somebody like Jeremy, who also won unanimously, right? I think that made him go into Winners at War thinking that if I make it to the end, I'm probably going to win. And it's probably why he was not as gung-ho about getting out Tony as he should have been, right? I don't think he fully realized that, like, he gets crushed by Tony at the end, right? Or that you have to, so there's little things like that, like, because somebody's so celebrated, they don't want to be seen as stupid. I think, like, Rob, I tried to, encourage him to play a slightly different game and, like, take his foot off the gas and let me drive something that I thought would be better for both of our games. But like, he has a reputation as the Godfather. And if he lets some kid tell him what to do, that's not great for his brand. Now, maybe he wasn't thinking about that and he would have done it anyway. But like,
but I don't think he thinks about it like, hey, that's my brand. I can't be
probably
like, I think he cannot exist in a world where he's not the person driving the action. Like, I think it has,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily, and listen, he sees things that I could not possibly see, but I don't think he thinks about it like that's my brand.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The point is
Like
maybe
he'd
Rob
rather
wasn't.
lose than give you than do what you're saying.
And
And he
that's
did.
what
And
happened.
that is what happened. That is what happened.
I tried to tell him it's not going to work if you try to
Yeah.
turn this on me. They're still going to vote out an old schooler. Anyway, I feel like I talk about this every time I come into a podcast.
Yeah, but it's relevant.
But yeah, I do think that everybody has wounds, baggage, whatever you want to call it, even if they win. And I genuinely was surprised at one of the tribal council on Winners at War when people talked so much about how, like, Ben talked about, like, or it wasn't just Ben, like Kim and all these people, they talked about like how they had like trust issues when they went home, or they couldn't eat, or they looked at their wife like they were going to betray them or whatever. And I was like, to me, that never, I don't know. Survivor didn't give me wounds as much as my real life.
Yes. But you started to say, I thought that you were going to say what your baggage was that when you came back for Survivor 40.
Oh, was I going to? I don't know, but I certainly can. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it was, you know, I had spent a lot of time after season 33 trying to be understood. Like, people would post something on Reddit and have a total misunderstanding of something that happened or whatever, and I would try to explain it, right? And it worked to a degree. Like, at the time, then you would see the things that I said get reparroted by other people on social media. There's still a small temptation to do that when I see things that are just like totally wrong, but I don't. And then maybe this is to your point of like why I'm not posting as much. I just don't engage anymore. And then the misinformation does spread more, and it is bothersome. And so I've always wanted to feel understood. You don't have to like me, but I take great pride in my ability to express myself and to be clear and communicative. And so if I feel misunderstood, it feels like a knock on myself. Like, well, I clearly haven't done a good enough job explaining myself. And I think, you know, you can only control so much.
Right.
And people are going to think what they think and do what they do, and you can't control it. And trust me, I've tried. Like, you could try everything, you can do everything, and it's like if somebody has made up their mind about you and decided something, there just may not be anything that you can do about that. And so that's something that I've had to continue to grow on and come to terms with. I think that's probably the baggage that I brought into season 40. I don't know if that like necessarily impacted my game necessarily, but it's something that I've grappled with for sure.
It's something that I struggle with also. And I would say that, you know, my traders experience, I did find it very fulfilling just overall, and I wonder if maybe this might not have been the case had I actually stayed on the show longer, where I went on the show, I did the thing, I had fun, I was disappointed. But then I came back and then my show came on and it was all in one night. And then I got to talk about it a lot, right? like it's really got like, let me get to talk about like everything that happened and let me explain what I was thinking every single step of the way. And, you know, I am very fortunate that, you know, I have this platform that I was able to do it. And then also that show is not as, you know, restrictive with what people who are, you know, talking about, especially once they're out of the game, you know. And so I was really afforded this opportunity to be able to, but if I was somebody who was on the traders longer or in Survivor 50, I know I would struggle with people making assumptions about what I was doing. No, that's not actually what happened. I was trying to do this, but it looked like they made it look like this was going to happen.
Yeah, that's why
And
I feel
so,
for Charlie here, because I have to imagine that this whole Maria thing was not his whole game, and that's all we saw.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, he did not say that in his press that he's done today.
he did not say what.
That, well, I really didn't really care about that. It was really just like, playing it up for the cameras. It wasn't really, but he did say, "Hey, I'm okay." Yeah.
It wasn't the only
Yeah.
part of his game, no doubt.
Yes.
But it's the most fun part for the audience, for the editors to latch on to.
I meant to ask Charlie, and I forgot to. Do you think that Maria has reached out? What do you think Maria's reaction has been to this Charlie storyline?
She can't love it.
Oh, really? I feel like she's like, oh, I bet she's like, I live rent free in Charlie's head.
Do you think she likes this?
I think so. Yes.
I don't know. I would guess that her reaction would be, I am not the only person in the history of Survivor who has voted for somebody that I was close to, who have not voted for somebody that I was close to in the game. Like, why is this all coming onto me? I think the fact that it was like the deciding vote made a big difference, right? But like that would be my guess as to her reaction, to be like, why are they talking about this?
Try this on. You are such a student of the game. I believe that Maria's vote for Kenzie is the most controversial jury vote in the history of Survivor.
Agreed. And I think Maria's response would be, why?
I would say Maria. I think that the reason that we would say that it was so controversial was because you and Charlie were so close throughout the season. He was Uncle Charlie. And I think that Maria's reasons that she gave about the jury vote was that, no, I saw the light in Kenzie's eyes when she made the fire. That was the reason that that it was Kenzie's fire making ability. But then when you talk to people who were there, it's like, actually, it took kind of like a really long time to get the fire going to beat Liz.
I do think that there's a little bit of misunderstanding about the fire in the eyes, because it wasn't necessarily about the fire making ability, but it was it
was my understanding that it was.
I don't think so. I think it was about, I see myself. I see someone who is working hard, who has their own business, who's a woman. I think that probably plays into it. Who is about to like get married and have kids, versus someone who is, in law school and single and like has his whole life ahead of him and is not even thinking about family or anything right now. And this is someone who takes mothership very importantly to her, right? And so I think it's more than just, oh, you did a good job making the fire. I think it's, I see myself in you, and I want you to have $1 million over this kid.
I'm not sure if there's one moment in Survivor 46 where we see a conversation between Maria and Kenzie on the screen during the entire show. I'm sure there must be at least a scene where they're in together.
In the challenge with her and Liz.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. And then they had to, like, it took Liz helping Kenzie to beat her in the challenge. But also, I think on top of it, I think it was the one time that the Survivor after show actually worked to great effect, where you also got to see the moment that Charlie found out. And he was so gracious in that moment that, hey, Charlie, by the way, guess who didn't vote for you?
Oh, so brutal.
Remember? So I think that that's probably the reason why. And I think you could go through the history of the show. I'd love to know what people think is the second place of what's the second most controversial jury vote in the history of the show, because I think a lot of them are pretty cut and dry. And that if they weren't cut and dry, that they weren't necessarily deciding votes.
That's the key. That's the key. I think that's why we talk about this one so much, is because it was both things make the difference.
Yeah.
And we're all pretty clear that Ben votes for Charlie in a tie, right?
I think he said that. Yeah,
Been confirmed. Yeah, I think so.
I believe
right?
so. Yeah. So
So if that's the case, then
yeah.
yeah, that was the decision maker. But yeah, interesting that they are giving so much airtime to previous stories on the show.
Yeah.
I love the edit of Cochran and Christian in this episode.
Sure.
Brilliant.
But I think that the reason why I think Maria probably likes it, I think that probably that the chances of Maria returning is probably higher than it's been the last couple of years.
Wouldn't it have been with Charlie though?
Now you got to bring them both back. Now we got to see what happens. And Rizo.
Can you get Maria on the podcast?
I'm not sure we can.
Okay, worth a shot.
It's worth a shot. And I think I do believe I believe that there was some attempt in the past, but I don't believe that it came to be.
Okay, well,
yeah.
If that lends probably more to my thinking that she's not loving it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
If she loved it, she'd probably want to come talk about it with you.
Maybe, but we asked before this happened.
Oh, well, try again.
Okay, we'll try again.
Maybe she's happy now.
Yeah, maybe she might want to do an emergency pod this week.
Do it.
Okay,
so much. Many eyeballs. Brandon, are you listening to this?
Yeah.
Make it happen.
I don't think we could get her to do a deep dive after the season. I don't think that. But we'll see. She might come on for an emergency pod.
15 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. 15 minutes. Okay. All right. So, talk to me about. We have this other tribe that we haven't talked too much about, with the Genevieve and Aubrey of it all, and the coach Colby Joe alliance coming together. You must have feelings about this honor and loyalty alliance, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that this is the alliance that I would be included in over the Nerd Alliance. I mean, I think that
what would your nickname be?
Can you help me with this? I mean, I don't think I can give it to myself. I need it to be bestowed upon me.
Mm-hmm. So I have to put it into Coach GPT.
That would be so good. You remember Rupert Bot?
Yes, of course. How could I forget?
Rupert Bot with AI. Can you imagine?
On Twitter? Yeah, I don't know what that was. That was like some version of AI. It was like the very infancy of AI.
Yeah, it would be incredible. Now we need a coach AI. That's such a good idea. Okay, so we have. Who do we already have? The Stone
Bell Monk was one.
I looked this up, by the way, and Google did not find
anything about the Stone Bell Monk.
No.
Yes. The Stone Bell Monk and the Oak-bound Warrior.
Yes.
Joe seemed really excited to be the Stone Bell Monk.
And what do you think? How did Colby? What do you think Colby's reaction was?
I'm the Oak-bound what? Oak-bound what now?
How good were Jeff's impressions, by the way? Emmy,
good.
Come on.
Good. Strong. I appreciate that. Like it was worth a shot. That's what I have to say.
Come on, see, this is why he hates us Survivor players.
Why?
Give him his flowers.
I'm saying I love that he did it. I thought that was I love these stuff. If I was going to rank them, I thought Jonathan was the best. I thought that
Christian's was good.
Christian was good for off the cuff. Like I think that
we're all men. They were all men.
Yeah. They were all men. I think that Jeff would have gotten some flack. I know that I hesitate to do impressions of women. I think that there's definitely some baggage that comes along with, like, if I do an impression that's not a white man, I'm like, I do say a little bit like, should I be doing this?
Fair enough.
It doesn't mean I always don't. It doesn't mean I always don't. That I will do.
What's the riskiest impression you've ever
done? What's the riskiest impression that I've ever done?
Also, you still need to give me a name. But
I wasn't sure if it was going to be okay to do a Jam Jam impression in the Traders reunion. I wasn't sure. Can I tell you? Can I tell you what I was going to say? Like, I thought about if they asked me about Jam Jam, what I was going to say was that they were going to say like, okay, Rob C, you said that Jam Jam was throwing you under the bus in the castle. I had thought about doing this, and I ultimately chickened out. But I was going to say, I was there, and the whole time Jam Jam was telling everybody, oh my God, everybody, Rob C has the best podcast that you should listen to. Rob has a podcast. And then also his book, he wrote the book on Survivor called The Tribe and I Have Spoken. I was like, why are you telling everybody this, Jam Jam? Come on. Don't stop telling everybody that. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that.
Will never do that impression.
I think that everybody in the podcast world knows it's in good fun. I've known Jam Jam for a long time. I just thought that I wasn't sure. I thought we had a good conversation after all that. And I wasn't sure necessarily how it would be received. And I wasn't sure if I should, I felt a little weird about putting words in his mouth of giving out my plugs in the castle. But I felt like that it probably would have made the air, and it would have been a pretty sneaky way to get my plugs into the Traders reunion.
That's I think, sometimes when you're not sure, err on the side of caution. I think it's
I erred on the side of caution, but I'll tell you now. Okay. I'll tell you.
Has there ever been an Adam impression? Is this something that anyone has ever done? What does that look like?
Yeah, I have. So, I mean, I do have a Adam Klein puppet here, and
ready to go.
Do you want to ask Puppet Adam anything?
Yeah. Let's see. You won by crying, right?
Adam, in the game of Survivor, we have emotions. People are feeling things. And so if I cry, it's because of how much I feel.
What do we think about? I want to ask the audience.
Was I as brave as Jeff doing an impression of Christian to Christian?
Yeah, I mean, that was brave. I mean, I put you on the spot. I sort of made you do it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's brave that you went for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, it was worth a shot, right? Or not always.
Like you
not
said
always.
About Jeff, I'm proud of you for trying.
We're trying. Yeah.
Oh man.
But I'll say I love doing Survivor impressions. I love it, and sometimes I hear them in my head, and it's like
is unbelievable.
Yeah, and I've honed it for years and years. I used to do it in the very beginning, and it wasn't very good. And really, the issue with doing these Survivor impressions is I have to do it for a while before it's good. It's not the type of thing where I'm going to do it immediately and it's going to be good. And so I need to do it. And sometimes I will do off podcast. I will, when I was cultivating Penner, I would do it in the shower. I was really working on it for a very long time. But you have to do it a lot. And the evolution of strategy, doing that with Josh, really afforded a lot of opportunities to take chances and be able to read a transcript of somebody talking in that voice. And the problem is, it's harder to just in the new era. I've had very few impressions that I do of the Survivor players. And I think it's because it is riskier. You do it the first time and the person you're on the podcast will be like, well, that was horrible. And it's like, okay, well, I'm never doing that again. I'm never doing,
your impression of me was perfect. It was spot on. You should do it in the shower and just keep working on it and keep doing it. Is there a particular word? Because I find when I do Trump or Obama, there's a word that gets you in there.
Yes. Often, a hook. Yes. For you?
For everybody? No,
I think so. Well, you know, a lot of times I end up doing them the most. Not a plug here. Oh my God, Rob, have you seen his cameos? But a lot of times I'll do them on Cameo, where you know, like, well, Adam Klein is here to talk about everything going on, and he's got lots of insight to help you get cast on Survivor. You know how I got cast? That they asked me. I didn't make a tape. That's how we did it, and we liked it. And frankly, I think it's. I'm very happy for you. And if somebody doesn't like what you do, that's bollocks.
Bullocks. I knew the Bullocks was coming. Well and Bullocks. Yeah. Start with well and with Bullocks. That's how you do a Penner impersonation.
Well, listen, I could do a whole thing about like all of the different impressions, but I think with Penner, that anytime there's a word that starts with the letter P, it helps with like a thanks for listening to my pal, Rob. And Penner, and the slower you talk with Penner, I think it's the better. Where, hey, look, Adam, thank you again for your all of the praise that you had for me in Winners at War, and thank you for saying that I was going to beat cream Jeremy in the finals. Not everybody thinks that, so I appreciate it.
Excuse me, we're here to talk about Survivor 50. Okay, nobody wants to hear you talk on and on about.
Yeah. Okay.
No, these are good.
Adam, you're canceled. You're canceled for that.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. Adam, I have for you a jam-packed Adam Klein mailbag from the list. We asked the listeners, what questions do you have for Adam Klein? And they had so many.
Great.
Yeah. So let me bounce around. And
how long do you have?
I don't know if we'll do them all. Because a lot of them that we had talked about. But I have a whole sheet of paper they are organized by category. That this two-sided piece of paper. These are all questions for you about the fake idol at Tribal. Okay. Okay. Wade Stevens wants to know: should you get partial credit for whatever success comes from the fake Tribal idol?
No.
Why not?
Because I did not invent the Tribal idol.
Okay. How about this? Should you get credit if that there's some shenanigans attempted with the fake Tribal idol, and that somebody is like, I'm not buying it? Jeff said that they would never do that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be as a result of like what I did. But Jeff did go on the record saying we're never doing that, even though he went on record in Game Changers saying that they might, right? That they
it
could be.
We change our minds. He's like Emily Flippin. Sometimes he changes what he wants to do.
Here's what I think really happened is I think that they did want to do a Tribal idol at some point.
And you ruined it.
And I ruined it. Because now it looks like they're only doing it because I tried to do it. And now it's not like their thing or their idea. And certainly now, because I help people with their audition videos, which is like the worst thing possibly do ever. I don't know. Now they don't want to probably acknowledge my existence at all. And that would feel like maybe doing that. I don't know.
But what if it happens organically where they didn't do it, other people did it? It's the best of both worlds.
Here. Yeah. That's what's happening here. And so they can still say, we're not hiding idols at Tribal. But also, this is just a very different and creative idea. It's not about finding an idol, right? It's about finding a fake in front of everybody so that people think that you have an idol when in fact you don't. Right? Now, whether this is actually going to be able to do anything to change votes at Tribal Council, I think it's a big long shot. But is it worth a shot? Sure.
Always. Right? Yeah. I mean, my thought has been that one of these guys is in trouble. They stand up at the Tribal Council, go over like, bad news, everybody. You thought I was a passenger. Now I'm the pilot. I've got the idol. I'm not going home tonight.
Yes, I think that's exactly the idea. Yeah. Now, like, is that going to actually get votes to change at Tribal? I don't know. I would be surprised.
I feel like we're all voting for Rick Devens. He just pulled out an idol at tribal council. Are we saying like, hold on, I'm gonna read that letter. Let me see that piece of paper, Rick.
He pulled it out. They all know about Billie Eilish, right? That's spread around. So what idol mechanic is now being hidden at tribal council in a pretty strange spot that would not be on a piece of parchment, right? What does the parchment say? In front of the fire, but behind this little stoop, if you reach down on the floor,
I don't know. I think in the fog of war, I think it's going to be pretty convincing. I just wonder if anybody would have the presence, like, and we saw it in Australian Survivor versus the World, you know, when the fur is flying at tribal council, that Parvati was able to get away with a pretty good con where people were not stopping down to read her note, where even JLP said like, Parvati, could you read the next thing? And she just read the same thing over and over again. And people are like, oh my God, Parvati's got something. We're cooked.
Yeah, look, this is probably why I haven't done something like this, because maybe I'm too much of a pessimist. I would think that's not realistic. It's like, but look, maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't think I would fall for it. I don't think I would.
I don't think you would fall for it either.
That's why I think my mistake in Survivor is that I think that people think like me, and that's not a good way to play. So yeah, maybe other people would not think about that and think, because they're not. I think about things like, okay, what does the note say that makes it hidden, like on the floor next to the fire behind in this random spot?
You get into the logistics. Yeah.
Right. And most people probably don't think like that. So yeah, look, if it can be played to save one of them, I will eat the rock.
Okay, well, like Francesca.
Yeah.
Amy Cook says, should Christian and Devens have called their idol the Adam Klein idol?
No. That's giving me way too much credit.
Come on.
No, I appreciate that. I'm honored. I appreciate that. It wasn't even my idol. It was the Palesa idol from Survivor South Africa. She's the one that actually got a real one. That's I do appreciate people thinking about me. It's always nice to be thought of. And certainly, you know, I was like thinking of that moment when I watched it on the show, but it's not mine. This is a uniquely creative idea by them. It was Rick's idea, right?
Rick's idea. Yeah, Rick instantly went there. Like, give me your percentage chance that this is going to pay off in some fruitful way. Okay, I guess let me start. Okay, this is a two-part question. Percentage chance it is actually going to come up at a tribal council later on this season.
85%.
85%.
Chekhov's idol. Like
Chekhov's idol.
Fire. You don't give all this fanfare to planting it if it doesn't turn into anything.
I will say we saw Yao Man make a fake immunity idol that nobody found. Okay. You know, if these guys are doing it, Christian's falling down, walking out of tribal, like you have to show it to us. That's true. You know, could either of them get blindsided and it never ends up happening? I think that there is a possibility. Okay. And now the chances that it bears fruit in a meaningful way where it saves one of their asses or their allies' ass. Their allies' ass.
My ass. 10,
my
15.
ass.
I got to work on it.
Getting bothered by me.
I need to take some more showers and work on that.
Also,
I'm disappointed in my Trump performance. I'm rusty. I haven't done it much here in Mexico.
Yeah, they don't like it.
So I apologize.
That's okay.
10-15%.
Yeah. If there's any complaint I get, Rob, they say, please, where are the Trump impressions on the podcast? Yeah. We would love to hear more.
I shouldn't have even given
more Trump impressions, please. Yeah. But that being said,
let me be very clear. Trump is not the only one that we can do. And yes, we can do more presidential impressions. And we should.
You should go on tour with Tevin. Have you thought about that?
Yes.
He does Kamala.
Oh, it's so good. I got to see it in person in December. Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So then the percentage chance that it's going to bear fruit, what was your number
15.
there? That's only 15.
Yeah, I don't, like I said,
So
I mean,
85% chance it happens, but only 15 that it bears fruit.
Yes. I don't think it'll work.
Do you think we get at least a live tribal out of it?
Yes. But I don't think it will change anything.
Okay. All right.
Let's move. People are too smart for that. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit.
Okay. All right. Let's take some other categories of questions. And this is one from Alexandra who says, Lions versus Hyenas Part 2, but it's honor and strategy. Ozzy in the middle sides with strategy this time. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I had in my notes to like bring this up. This idea that like coming into the merge, we have honor and integrity, and then we have like the nerd alliance, and that's going to be, I think, the driving force here. And now it's interesting. You have Ozzy maybe with the nerd side, and maybe the start of Aubrey going with the honor and integrity side.
Okay.
This episode.
Give me this breakdown, because I didn't see it exactly the same way as you did, but I feel like, okay, the honor and integrity, I think that's easier to put together. I think that I differ from you in terms of how I see the two sides. I think that there's two sides, and I think that there's a smaller group that's the swing. But tell me your view of this 17-person merge.
The most obvious is Coach, Joe, Colby.
Yeah.
Then you have Chrissy.
Yeah.
She's not really honor and integrity, but she's aligned.
Sure, she's aligned. And then Stephenie is going to come home.
Stephenie.
Yep.
And who else? Coach named one other person on that tribe.
Genevieve has been aligned with that group the whole season.
Is that who Coach named in this episode?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So
that is 6 people there.
Okay, and we may add more later, but let's start there. Yep. On the nerd side, we have Christian, Rick Devens, Emily, Ozzy, maybe. He's with them now, out of having been with them. Who else?
Well, you haven't don't forget the women. Aubrey, Dee, Kamilla, Tiffany.
I think that's a separate.
Okay. Well,
Kamilla, Dee, and I think Aubrey's more with the honor and integrity.
Okay, look at you. That you think she's on the same side with Genevieve?
No, but I think that she's starting to get pulled into that group in this last episode.
So we still have the Kamilla. So I think that the group that voted together last night. Okay, Kamilla, Dee, Cirie, Rizo, and then I think that well, hear me out. I think that Tiffany, who was very close with Dee and Kamilla early on, comes home to that, and then Aubrey comes along with that.
Okay.
So that gives them 6. So,
because I think
what's that? It's tenuous
6. Much more tenuous than the honor and integrity group, I think.
Right.
Sounds way more loosey-goosey.
Is there some common ground where that the Christian, Rick, Emily group, and now Rick was getting pulled in with Jonathan after that last vote. Does the honor and integrity group want Rick Devens? And then
Jonathan for sure.
They want Jonathan for sure. Does Rick, who voted for Rizo, does he try to end up getting back absorbed? Does Cirie want Christian and Rick and Emily back? I kind of felt like that was a little, to me.
Oh, with Christian and Emily. For sure.
But where are they going? That Emily has a connection to Dee, but I really feel like that Christian, Rick, and Emily
spot here to
who is
Dee and company to decide how this
Yeah.
is going to go. By the
think
way,
Ozzy.
sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that Ozzy goes to Kamilla, Dee, Cirie, Rizo. I think that that Ozzy will want to link back up with Cirie. And I think that he'll fit in better with that group with Dee and Aubrey and Tiffany. And I kind of feel like that Christian, Rick, Emily, I think that they are going to be swing votes here.
Oh.
I guess both groups could look at them in the middle.
I think that Christian, Rick, Emily are going to get targeted.
Yeah.
I think that they have their allies are everything you just described is way too tenuous. Like even Ozzy. Ozzy's doesn't need to stick with them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What was I just about to say? That I think Dee, this is kind of changing topics a little bit, but there was something about the way that Dee pulled an alliance together in this episode that was that made me think that she could pull an alliance together on any tribe at any time. I'm like, she might be, and maybe this is hyperbole, but she might be one of the best alliance builders. Because she knows, she's so good at feeling what is gonna be strong, and making that connection with Rizo. I believe that he really wants to work with her. I believe that Cirie really wants to work with her. I believe that Kamilla really wants to work with her. Maybe that's not going to pan out, but it feels like she can feel the vibe and be like, and just have it be relaxed and natural and just like, this is our crew. I think she's easily one of the strongest winners of the new era, if not the strongest.
Easily, yes. She has a really good feel for it. Yeah, I think I would like to see her pull together like a group here at the, like we saw that in her original starting tribe in season 45, she was able to pull together a group. She had other people from the other side feeling good about her, and Kelly and Emily and Katura, the people that really wanted to work with her also. It seemed like she was a little bit on the back foot on her starting tribe here in this season where her name was coming up. And then we did see her with Rizo put together this group. So I think I'd like to see it coming into the merge before.
I think it is premature to say what I said, but I think there's the makings of
she has a gift.
Great.
But do you think we will get a 17-person vote in this next episode?
No chance.
Yeah.
I would love it, actually. I would love to see that.
It would be exciting.
It would be exciting.
I suspect that it's mergatory or it's at the merge.
There's got to be multiple.
You think so? Yeah. I mean, that's certainly on the table.
Flip the Mr. Beast coin.
Yeah. I hope we better not break the hourglass.
Right. Yeah. Don't put that.
But no, it's the merge. If there's any time for some shenanigans in Survivor in the new era, it's this vote. So
Mr. Beast is going to show up?
I don't believe so. I think that we would have seen him in the preview. Yeah. But we didn't we didn't get word of like, oh, you people are losing your vote, or these people can't vote, or that's the same thing. Or these people are going to go over here, and then
to think that this is just going to be a simple vote. I would love
it. I don't think so. I'd be surprised. Or it's like, oh, you could only vote for these 6 people out of all this. And so we'll see how it ultimately plays out. Did you see, I made a video about this, about the ominous end to the next time on Survivor next week?
Oh, something about Jeff. Well, yeah.
Jeff said that something's going to happen tonight that's going to change the game forever.
Mr. Beast.
It's not that they would show him, I think. And they showed like a really creepy view of Jeff, like in red.
He's gonna do the challenge.
He's gonna do this. Maybe that's what's gonna change it. So not sure.
Fallon.
Okay.
Jim Fallon. Billie Eilish.
Maybe they're all coming out. They're all gonna just like unite like the Super Friends.
They all are gonna go fishing.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to see Mr. Beast go fishing.
Yes.
Not on Survivor. He can do his own.
Yeah. All right. How about a question about Keluciano says, can nerds work with players like Ozzy? What did you think about this Christian versus Ozzy back and forth from this episode?
Can they work together? Yes. I think it's strange that now all of a sudden Emily and Ozzy seem to be like best friends. Didn't we get like 2 episodes at the beginning of Emily just saying, "Can we please vote out Ozzy? Why not Ozzy?"
Emily changes her mind. But I do think that, yes, I think so. Emily, she worked very well with Caleb in season 45 and ultimately, didn't go to bat for him all the way. But I think that Emily works well with somebody who's kind of not really like an Emily Flippin.
Yeah, for sure. Well, who's like Emily Flippin?
It's fair.
It's nobody. Like,
yeah,
it's unique. So, she is clever. I don't think that she spilled the beans about what Christian told her accidentally. Not for a second do I think that. I think that,
so when Ozzy came back to camp, you feel like that was intentional?
1,000%, yes.
Okay, that's interesting because I had asked, I think Steven. No, I had wondered, and I had asked Steven that question on the Know-It-Alls, I think, on Sunday, and he said he did not think that was the case. And I don't know Emily well enough to know if it was or not.
I don't either. This is just everything I say on here is just a total guess.
Speculation, yeah.
Yeah, but that's why we're here, right? Strong opinions and say whatever the hell we think, and there's no consequences for it.
We'll see.
Unless we do a Jam Jam.
No consequences for you.
Yeah, I mean, your Jam Jam impersonation is definitely going to get you in hot water. But me, I'm going to be fine. Sorry, the point
Rob,
being,
you're canceled too. Oh, man. Okay.
No, I think it was intentional because I think it gets... If she doesn't say anything, it's now a secret that she has kept. If she does say anything, it falls all the way on Christian. And she can still go back to Christian and say, oh, whoops. What did I do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to burn her. Christian's not turning her.
Yeah.
So, I don't think she had a lot to lose with sharing that information.
Yeah. I thought that the Ozzy scene in the episode, I thought it was very interesting where we saw a very classic emotional Ozzy, but then we saw Ozzy meditate and Ozzy talk about how that he was able to like calm his mind in meditation. And we saw him then be a lot more grounded Ozzy. And I thought that was interesting to see Ozzy, who has been able to describe himself in those ways, and to know like, hey, that is part of me where I am going to lash out, but I also know how to control it.
Yeah, I think you're definitely seeing growth, maturity, and I like that he still cares. He seems to still really care. And that's where I have to give some credit to casting, because they get a lot of crap, rightfully so. You should have been on. That was a terrible decision. So while I crap on them, I will also say that they see things that we don't, and they have more information than we do in casting. And I think you talk to somebody like Colby, and it's clear that, like, yes, he was a big star then, and he went on to do other things and host other things, and he, maybe didn't have like the best showing the last time around, but he clearly is in it. He wants it, right? And I do think that matters. And hopefully, for the sake of the show, they're right about all of that. and all these people that they put on there.
They made a big bet on Rizgod coming back. They bumped people from the show, and they brought back a guy who finished playing 9 days ago, who could have fallen flat on his face. And they're I don't want to say like it's all come up aces, but he's delivering. He's bringing something to the season, and that was a gamble that you could have. I think that the people who got bumped know who they are, but it would not have been anybody you would have been disappointed to see.
For sure.
And they pulled the plug on somebody to bring back a guy 9 days later who could have come out and nobody knows him. Could have just been a total flop first boot.
And I think one of the things they value the most is how badly do you want it? And I think Rizo made it very clear during the filming of 49 that one of his motivations, if not his primary motivation, I don't know, was to become a legend. And that requires getting invited back for season 50. I mean, they dangled 50 as a carrot in front of 49 people. I mean,
I think you say on season 40.
What's that?
I thought you were going to say on season 40.
They dangled what on season 40?
You come back for season 50.
No, they did not. Not even close.
They didn't even call anybody, or they might have called a couple people. But they didn't bring back anybody from season 40.
Yeah, I think it was just Rob, Parv, and me that got the calls. For
you 50. Got a call for season 50.
Oh, of course, Rob.
Yes. Duh. Yeah.
Do you believe
you're
me?
Joking?
Of course I'm joking.
Yeah.
But you believed me for like half a second, which I'm flattered.
Well, I'm trying to triangulate when Jeff said he was mad at you.
Years ago. It's been years.
Yeah, years. So
that was season 45.
Mm-hmm.
We're
back
old.
When Rick Devens was hosting the On Fire podcast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that, Rick.
But Rick didn't say anything. Rick didn't. Yeah. Yeah, maybe they cut it out. Rick was like, "Hey,
look, I know the gig. You go on the Jeff Probst podcast. Your job is not to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I know the gig.
They should have had Emily Flippin on. She would push back.
She would have disagreed.
Yeah,
but that is not the rule. It's too bad. It's not great for a podcast. Should disagree. But then again, I shouldn't really comment because I kind of stopped listening after the third time I got publicly roasted.
Yeah. We got to listen. We got to keep listening. I don't know what they're going to say.
No, I think for my own well-being, I needed to stop listening.
Okay. This is from...
that's father. That's
father. So
disappointed. And no way to call him up and say, you want to talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's just what it will forever be.
Cameron Haas wants to know, did Adam see any similarities between the gameplay in Survivor 40 and 50?
That's such a broad question. I'm trying to give a specific answer. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, I can give you a finer point question.
One of the biggest things is hiding pregame alliances in the edit, I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any pregame alliances in season 40? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Michelle was like family. Like I viewed her like family. Mm-hmm. Right? And the whole design going into the game, and probably part of the reason why you didn't see it. Okay, here's something that I noticed. Episode 1, you see conversations on the beach. They are not scripted, but they have already happened. And these are players playing ball with production, where they are choosing to, on camera, cement an alliance that has already been discussed half to death. I can't remember exactly if we would have talked episode 1, I would have said This conversation has already happened. This conversation has already happened. Even Ozzy and Coach, do we really think that that was the first time they ever spoke about the jury votes and whatever since the last time? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But they both know that they're
But
there.
the key thing really,
show.
Set the whole thing off.
Oh, no, I don't. That wasn't preordained at all. I'm talking about the conversation they had when they first walk up.
Okay, sure.
Each other and that whole thing. I'm certain they had that conversation. I'm not certain. I feel pretty confident they had that conversation before.
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion. Emily and Rick Devens, Emily and Christian, they all connected in the first episode. No way they connected in the first episode. They connected before the first episode. And this is what I didn't do well. I was not a good steward of the show in establishing the strategy on camera, right? Because I was so motivated to win, and that was it. And I was like, we've already discussed everything that we're going to. So for Michelle and I, for example, it was divide and conquer. I'm going to go with one group. You are going to go with another. And at the first vote, I knew where every single vote was going, from not only my side, but the other side as well, because the other side on purpose had Michelle, so that we could know everything and so that people would not think that we were working together. But we never went to each other in real life on camera and said, here's what we're going to do. Let's divide and conquer. Maybe if we had, it would have been aired.
Right. But
maybe.
So Michelle knowingly went with Jeremy and Natalie, knowing that one of them was that Natalie was going to get blindsided.
I didn't tell her the full information, but she said, this is how the vote split is happening. And we worked together to make sure that the men were going to vote for me and the women were going to vote for Denise, so that there would be, because I knew who was out of the vote. And so that way there's 2 votes on Denise and only 1 on me. Right. But she said, you're going home. And I said, no, I'm not. And
look at you.
And she was like, well, what's happening?
That should have been in the show.
Right. And I was like, if you really want to know, I'll tell you, but I don't think you need to know. And it might be better if you don't. Right.
And she wasn't like, hey, you left me out of the vote. She wasn't mad at it or anything after that.
She knew she was getting left out of the vote. Like, now in real time, this is all my point of view, right? In real time, do I actually think that I maybe misread that situation a little bit, and that maybe there was a little bit of like, okay, we're doing this, but you have all the information. I don't. They see me as voting for them. That's hurting my game. And maybe she wasn't as gung-ho about this idea as I was, but we still were doing it. Do you know what I mean? And so I was getting information. The idea was, divide. I thought that it would take a level of strategy to win season 40 that had never been seen before. I thought that it was going to require...
And in some ways it did.
No, it was pretty traditional. It was, here's my group, and we're going to vote together. And I'm with Sarah, and everybody knows it. And I'm with Jeremy, and everybody knows it. It was very out in the open. I thought it was going to require layers of hidden relationships, because I was like, okay, everybody knows about Rob and Amber. Everybody knows about me and Denise on purpose. I wanted people to be like, here's my public ally. Right? Here's who everybody thinks is my number one. And so there were groups that were obvious, right? Ethan and Parv and whatever. And so it's like, how is anybody going to let those obvious pairs or groupings get to the end? They're not. And if people know how close Michelle and I are, they won't let us get they won't let us sniff Final Tribal, because all the big dogs, Tony, Sandra, Jeremy, whatever, Parv, they're all going to get together and say, we can't let Game Changers happen again. And we got to get rid of the hyenas or whatever. And the only reason that didn't happen earlier, I think, is because we hid that we were working together. Do you know what I mean?
I would say
what I thought it would take to win.
Yeah. What I've seen so far is I think that there is more of a reluctance for people to work with the players who are playing hard as opposed to the players who, all right, they don't have that much going on. And I think that we've seen across the season people gunning for the players or not necessarily feeling comfortable about the players who are playing a more fast-paced game. And there is more of a safety with, hey, you know what? I think I'd like to work with the players who aren't moving that fast.
Maybe I see it more as a reluctance to work with people who people know you're close to. I think that's what happened here with Christian, right? That if he sticks with Mike and Angelina, then everybody knows who his alliance is. I do want to ask though, why Mike? Why Mike and not Angelina?
I think that when Mike brought up the specter of Gabby, I think that it did open some wounds for Christian, where I think that Christian was always, I believe that Christian probably ranked Mike White. He described Mike White as the most dangerous person on this island or any island. And I was like, I bet there's some dangerous islands.
But Mike was really, really, really close with Christian and wasn't going to vote him out. And I think that that was kind of obvious, whereas Angelina certainly would have. So,
but there are Mike White got Christian voted out in David versus Goliath, and so that Christian can never forget that
Mike was going to gun for him anytime soon in this season. I think that's a misread if he thought that he was. I just look. I think he was wanting to break up. I get wanting to break them up. I just don't understand why he would go before Angelina went out. I said the biggest reason why you would go out early is because they want to weaken Mike White, and they want to keep Mike White in because they want to be on the freaking White
show.
Lotus or whatever, and they are going to view you as a threat to getting close to Mike White. And so that was my fear for Angelina. And so to see Mike White be voted out before Angelina was very surprising to me.
Yeah. I think it would be not unlike, and maybe you tell me this is, Rob, you're way off on this. Like if you played on another season with David Wright, where it's like, hey, David, we're working together. But you don't think at some point, like in the back of his mind, like, hey, this is the guy who got me out in, like, I would have won my season.
I officiated his wedding.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Christian was in the White Lotus. Christian was in the White Lotus.
He got a really small role. He got a really
Do
you remember what his role was on the White Lotus?
I do. I think it was more Christian happened to be in Thailand when they were filming it, and it was like, hey, this will be like it wasn't like a written part that Christian, but that I do think
I
that
would
there's
be okay if David Wright voted me out at the final four.
Okay, but. Fair. You know, there might be some part of him that's like, hey, nobody else realizes how dangerous Adam is. And maybe felt like, okay, I have to, you know, break up the David versus Goliath 3 somehow. This is my shot. I bet
it would hurt my
and so you can understand why Mike's feelings are hurt. I thought it was not a great move for Christian. I thought it was also like, hey, I could do a 3-2-1. That's pretty cool. But I do think that the person
look, like I said at the very beginning of this, I understand the predicament that Christian was in, and I don't envy that spot. And I think that ultimately he's probably is a little bit safer. It's not that he's safer now than he was before. It's that he would have been royally screwed if he went into the merge with only him, Mike, and Angelina left from that tribe, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it was a lose-lose. But I do, like, I don't know. He didn't feel that shook up about it, which also would hurt me, right? Like, he felt shook up about what Mike said to him, but not about turning on him.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's part of the bad blood here, is it's like, You're
Operation Bad Blood was
blaming
Charlie
this
and Rizzo.
on me and something I said about Gabby. But you actually voted me out here, and we've been friends for 7 years.
I think that Christian has never shied away from talking about how good of a player Mike White is. And Mike White is like, I was working with you, but I think that Christian just felt like, but you're too dangerous. You turned the narrative against me once and you're capable of doing it again. And I can't leave that in the game.
Well, one of the things that I saw somebody post something from Christian's preseason press was he's like,
Yes.
I've learned from Mike White and
Yes.
I am going to control the narrative. And so I think what people might
Easier
be
said than done
as disingenuous is him playing the narrative game. He is conscious of the way the show is being presented, and some might say hamming it up or playing to that or creating the story that works. And this is why I can understand Mike not believing this thing about Gabby as being like the reason why he targeted Mike. And to be honest, I don't really buy that either. Like, I get wanting to split them up. But this thing about like, oh, he made an offhand comment about Gabby, and then it's like, that's what reminded me that Mike was so dangerous. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I think he went into the game consciously saying, I am going to write my narrative. So he is thinking about that. He's on tape saying that. You know what I mean?
It's a tough situation for everybody that's involved there, because if he does ultimately vote out Emily, I think that there is probably Rick Devens is like, dude, why'd you do that? What's up with that? He's also coming out of this scenario now. He's in a 5-person tribe with the David versus Goliath 3. And so they end up looking like what? Well, sure. I think that there was Ozzy and Stephenie were closer than that we now know from this episode, where Stephenie told Ozzy about the Billie Eilish idol. I think that there was I think it's gonna be hard.
Not in their camp, clearly. And so I think, like, leaving.
I asked Mike White, why didn't you vote out Stephenie? He said that he felt like that she was the type of loyal player that he saw himself as. So
loyal to who? Loyal to Colby? Loyal to
that it's a good idea. I'm just telling you, nobody there wanted to vote out Stephenie.
I mean, I think that's the play.
It would have been a good idea, but nobody wanted to do it.
I don't think Stephenie is going to be Christian's greatest ally moving forward.
No, I don't think so. She, I think, was, already if Ozzy was like, hey, I want to take out Christian, I think that she would have been on board to do it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Here, let's move on to John Diaz wants to know, whose game in 50 reminds you of your gameplay in 40?
Whoever is trying to hide their alliances the most. Who would that be? I mean, that was really my strategy. Like, I was gonna like play this undercover game of like, is anyone doing something like that? If they are, we're not seeing it, which is the point, right?
Who's playing an undercover game?
Yeah, who's got allies we don't know about?
Allies that we don't know about.
Chrissy?
I don't know if she has that many allies. I mean, so it seems like that she has, Coach, Jonathan, maybe Colby.
And she's in that group, right? And we don't know why.
She's in that group.
Right? We don't really know why.
Yeah.
We also haven't heard from Chrissy at all. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just a guess.
How about Cirie?
Well, I mean, I'm never going to make that comparison. You can.
What? Oh no, I was going to say who has allies that a lot of people don't know about. I was going to say that I thought that Cirie.
really flat.
It wasn't my first thought of who plays the most like you.
Dang, that
Mm-hmm.
would have been a great compliment.
We'll see. Maybe by the end of the season, maybe we'll say that.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Nobody. My first instinct that nobody comes immediately to mind.
Okay. DJ Seth wants to know, Adam, being the same super duper fan archetype, how do you see your gameplay compared and contrasted to Rizo?
I think Rizo puts on a little bit more of a show than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I think maybe let's think about Rizo and Kamilla, right? Kamilla knew he was lying, or at least suspected that. And yet she aligns with him and votes with him anyway. I think maybe part of the reason that is because she thinks she can beat him at the end. She thinks that he has a little bit of bravado. And look, Rizo is playing a very, very good game. To come in, so I don't want to diminish Rizo at all. Like, to come in, not know anybody, to be building alliances, to be coming back from when people don't seem to like him or whatever, he's doing a really good job. But I also think, and I don't know if this part is intentional, something that he probably hasn't learned from 49 yet, because he hasn't had a chance to decompress and watch, is that I don't know if he was going to win at the end of 49.
Yeah, this is a good point you're making. I think that maybe that where Charlie talked about how that he has not seen how he is playing and he's the hero of his own narrative. I think that this could be his fatal flaw, where Charlie said about Rizo, we're all the hero of our own stories, because going through the game in your own head rather than watching yourself play and getting to see all the other stories, it colors things differently. And do you think that there is maybe a desire for people to work with Rizo because already he is, no matter what happens the rest of the season, he is a final 3 GOAT. He will not win a jury vote. These returning players will not vote for Rizgod to win against almost anybody in the final 3. He's 26. He feels like he's maybe younger than that even. These are people with families, and that was a big deal in Winners at War, where we're going to vote for people who have kids. We're going to vote for people. If you're Cirie, wouldn't you love to sit next to Rizgod in the final 3?
Cirie can sit next to anybody. So Cirie's only goal is to get to the end of the game. It doesn't matter with who.
But if you're D, maybe you're D, and you're struggling with, boy, who am I going to sit next to that they're going to give me the jury vote?
Another winner, to a millionaire to win again. What
you want to vote for D, or do you want to vote for Rizgod at that point, jury?
So you might want to go with Riz.
And he had bad jury management in season 49. I don't know if he knows that. He doesn't know that, and that's the thing. And so that's and this is your point that I am picking up on and running with it, because he was not aware, seemingly, of how the jury was receiving him, and where it's great for getting camera time of, hey, I'm dunking on Charlie, but when the people go out of the game and they go to the jury, they don't love all of the trash talk and like, hey, I'm not, I thought I was going to play my idol, but I'm not going to.
One of the things that you look for in a final 3 is you want people who know that they are going to beat you, who are wrong.
Yeah.
You need people who have an overinflated sense of their own game so that they think they will beat you at the end, so they want to go with you to the end when you know you're going to beat them. That is one of the absolute keys to this game. If you can know who you beat and know who thinks they beat you when they don't, you can master the end game of Survivor, right? And so when Rizo talks a big game in public, what do you have left at the end? He's putting it all He's like, I did all these great things in 49. I did this, I did this, I did this. And all everyone else is hearing is money bags because they're like, he's talking himself up now.
Yeah.
So, and if he gets to the end, people are going to say, look, you were talking yourself up the whole time and people still wanted to go to the end with you. Why do you think that is?
These players are so good. These players are such sharks. And I think that I really thought Rizzo was going to come in and get smoked. I wonder if that maybe that they're looking at him like, this guy finished playing his season 9 days ago. He's going to be gassed by the end.
Also
He wasn't. They like him. Sure, easy guy to like. But he wasn't even a challenge beast in his original season. How's he going to be holding up when it's day 23 and he's played Survivor, 50 out of the last 60 days? And he might just be looked at as somebody who is somebody that, hey, as long, let's just keep him around. Well, I'm not worried about this guy.
You want somebody who you can beat at the end, who you like to be around, who is loyal. And I think he's doing a really good job of selling himself.
He rides for his people.
Loyal. Yes. I would trust him too, right? He feels like if you're in with him, you're in with him. It's exactly who you want to work with in Survivor. And I don't believe that all of that is coincidence. I think he knows what he's doing in some of those aspects. I just don't know if he actually can get the votes at the end. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Adam, I have a question for you from R-Dub's wife. Wants to know, what themes, new or old, would you like to see in the 50s? Do you think that there is enough content for a first boot or a runner-up season? You want themes to come back?
Sure. I'm down for themes to come back. I mean, this is totally selfish and biased, but the dream season, Millennials versus Gen Z.
Wow.
Come on. And not only that, again, selfish and biased, you bring back the whole Millennial tribe.
The whole Millennial tribe. We're bringing back, okay, so bringing back everybody.
Everybody. Against
Could you get everybody? Could you get everybody? Could you get all 10?
No. No, I don't think you could. I think you could get nearly everybody.
Nearly everybody. And then would the Millennials be all like cranky, like Paul Wachter about Gen Z? Can you give me cut a promo for Millennials versus Gen X? Can you complain about Gen Z a little bit?
No, it's a fun group. We would be,
You're bombing your casting video right now.
No, wait, hold on a second. No, hold on. We don't need to shit on Gen Z. We were there. We got shit on by Gen X, right? Now, maybe some of them will, and that's not my role, right? That's why you have different people on the Millennial tribe.
Yeah.
But how interesting would it be to see some of these Michaela and Jay come back together?
Sure.
Taylor and Biggie come back together.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. But who was the Gen Xer that was like, hey, Millennials, they're just like us?
Ken. Kind of.
No, he was like, I'm listening to vinyl. I don't text the letter U.
When everyone else was like,
apparently,
he's like, don't underestimate them. He said that. He kind of chastised his tribe a little bit, and was
I guess so.
We can't underestimate these guys, and they want it just as badly.
I'm here for it. I think they need themes in the 50s.
I think it would be fun. Imagine.
I don't think they could just roll up with Survivor 51 and expect everybody to still be excited.
I don't know. Put it out to the viewers. Put it in the hands of the fans.
Put it in the hands. Vote. Should we have themes? They'll vote
the
yes.
Millennial tribe, and this has nothing to do with me, but I think the Millennial tribe is one of the best tribes in the history of Survivor.
It's a good tribe. Okay.
18-year-old Will Wall comes back, and he's like been in the military. He's like got all these like degrees. He's got kids.
The pendulum's ready to swing the other way.
What a story.
Okay.
Jay, come on. Like,
look, you sold me.
Zeke, good story. Hannah, come on.
Yep. Matt 77.
They're all so good.
Matt77181 says, give mother more confessionals.
Yeah, any of them. All of the mothers.
Give all the mothers more confessionals. Okay. Anything else that's on your mind? Anything else you want to say?
Let's see. Let me look at my notes.
Look at your notes.
Let's see. I think that you know, again, it's such edit stuff, but like the boat wake up scene, I think that happened after Charlie was already being targeted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's like the reason or whatever. Let's see. I want to talk about just briefly, like, Angelina's exit was so good.
Yeah,
like,
you like the jacket giveaway, full circle.
Not only that, but it was gracious, it was positive, it was funny. Like, that's the Angelina that I know that fans don't always get to see. It reminded me a lot of like Jay's exit in Millennials Gen X, which I just just when someone
remember the night that the jacket happened when we were in Reno together.
Wow, was that night?
Yes, and she was there.
I forgot that was that night. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that night, that day, whatever in Reno, it crushed my game in Winners at War because I really bonded and connected with Ben, and then I was like so unwilling to like consider voting him out in Winners at War, just like as a friend,
because you teamed up to do This Week in Survivor History.
That's right. And
so you've always blamed Jordan Kalish for season 40 not going.
In a hotel room where we did that and like cried together and like really bonded and connected. That was my dream final three, was me, Ben, and Michelle. That's what I wanted. Let me see. Where are Chrissy and Stephenie? Yeah. Why not target Rick? I'd be more worried about his connections, like with Emily and Christian.
I think that maybe they looked at Rick and Cirie as a package deal, and it's sort of like that Rizo was the low-hanging fruit to maybe, I don't know, that we really haven't seen Cirie and Rick too much the last couple episodes together.
Probably would have been more threatened by Rick than Charlie.
Yeah. It seems like that Dee really soured on Charlie.
Why? Is it
she said he's playing dumb?
Talked about. I'm just curious.
Her baggage?
No. His, like, how he, like, I wonder how he was approaching people in the game that made them not feel as connected with him.
I don't know. I think that he just probably didn't put a lot of stock into the relationship once they ended up having the swap. But I thought that Dee and Charlie were on pretty good terms coming into the game. I think they both spoke highly of each other in the preseason.
Yeah. So what happened there?
I don't know.
Yeah. I'd be interested to ask Charlie.
Yeah. I think that ultimately Dee really connects with people on like an emotional level, and I think that maybe Charlie connects on people on more of like a game logical level, and I think that maybe it just wasn't a good match between the two of them.
Or is he holding on to stuff and not getting as emotionally bonded and connected because he doesn't want to get hurt again? Drama.
Maybe.
It always comes
Adam,
back to drama.
Yeah. What a delight to talk with you. What a wide-ranging, interesting conversation we had. Thanks to everybody who came along on this ride. It was so fascinating. It went by so quick.
Yeah, I hope we didn't get canceled.
I mean, I always hope that. But why? Why should we get canceled? Because we talked about our feelings?
I don't know. The talking about divorce, talking about feelings,
doing impressions.
Yeah. Good ones all the time.
Yeah. Okay. What are you going to do? We do the podcast for the people who like it, not for the people who don't like it.
Fair.
Yep. Okay. All right. Adam, anything you want to tell people about, to check out?
I still, much to Jeff and Jesse's chagrin, I still
for all shows, not just Survivor.
I've had over 40 clients get on shows now. Over 12 shows. Like, I don't talk about this I'm trauma. The last time I did like a big look at these people I worked with, then all hell broke loose. So I don't really like share that stuff. And also because there is no guarantee, right? It is hard. It is hard to get on these shows.
Well, did you get somebody on the show that they thought like kind of sucked? Is that why they got mad at you?
No, they have loved.
Because maybe I could see why I'd be like,
that I've worked with.
If you trick them into putting somebody on who sucked or quit,
they never have. That's not what I do, right?
Yeah.
My job is not to come up with a line that you should say. It's to help you figure out what your essence is. And lead with that and put it on display and speak your mind, right? And that is so individualized. It's why I really just do the individual stuff now, because it's so much about, I need to get to know you. I need to figure you out and talk things. And sometimes somebody will say something and I'll be like, but that's not your story, right? And they're like, yeah, I guess not. And I'm like, then why do you keep saying that? So it's not about tricking anybody. It's very self-reflective. And it's storytelling coaching, really, more than anything. It's about learning how to speak your mind and put your personality on display. And they love the people that I've worked with. And I haven't created them into anything. They're not good at this because of me or whatever. But everybody who's good at something and at an elite level still has a coach. There's still somebody that they work with to make them better, even if they're already really, really good, right? So look, but yeah, it's not just Survivor. I've had clients get on over a dozen different shows at this point, and I probably don't pat myself on the back enough for that, and I probably don't put it out there enough. But the reality is, it's like, I know I'm good at it. It's why I'm still doing it. I still like it. Yeah. And I live in Mexico now.
Yeah. How's that? You recommend?
As of like a week or two ago, I moved to Mexico City. So
yeah,
it's beautiful here. It's I speak Spanish. I'm
wow.
Like I went on a date totally in Spanish. I was proud of myself for that.
And see or no?
See, I mean, like, yeah, I'm getting to know people. I'm putting myself out there. I'm in better shape than I've been in a long time.
Physically.
Physically.
Do you have abs like Mike White?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
It's my divorce revenge body. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, it's not about
that's
that.
The best physical trainer.
Yeah. Well, certainly was my weight loss routine right after things really went sideways. I lost 15 pounds in a month. It was like Survivor style. Oh. Yeah. But I've kept
People don't lose that in the new era.
Anyway, that
people don't lose that in the whole new era.
Do they not? Yeah. Like, it was, I guess, more than Survivor then. Not healthy. And it wasn't good. No. It was not it was like I couldn't eat,
Okay.
But yeah, so I feel like I'm coming back to life a little bit, right? And I'm building my confidence back, and I feel like I'm meeting people here. I'm making friends. People are welcoming me in. They're inviting me to things. I'm right after this, I'm going to a speed dating event that some friends invited me to, and they're like, "You should come." So, I'm just like, whatever. Like, it's
dating rapido.
Whatever. It's dating.
Is that what they call it?
Dating in Spanish. That's exactly right. And I'm just, I'm putting myself back out there because life doesn't end when bad things happen, it's
Yeah.
just an
Hey,
opportunity to start fresh
Adam,
and give it another go.
hasn't that always been your story since we've known you?
And maybe I got a little too complacent, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I got like, I thought that the rest of my life was going to be comfortable, right? I was
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna start to have kids, I'm gonna get a house, I'm gonna do all the things that like I said that I was gonna do when I won Survivor. Like I was 25 when I won. And I was smart enough to know that I didn't need that money. Not as a 25-year-old, right? And so I was like, this is for my future family. This is for the ability to like buy a house in the United States, which is like not easy to do. And I was ready for that. I was ready for that part of my life. And it didn't happen the way that I imagined it. But I still want those things. I still want to have a family. I still eventually want to get a house or whatever. But I wasn't living just for me. I was following my wife to live on a cruise ship, to move to wherever she wanted to be for her career, right? And I think maybe that wasn't that attractive. I don't know, right? It doesn't matter. The point is that like I'm doing some things for myself now, right? And I'm very privileged and lucky to be in a place where I still believe that I can have that future. But in the meantime, I'm going to do some things for myself.
Yeah. Hey, you got to only go day by day. Nobody knows this better than you. And I think it's, don't worry about, all of the things that I have to do this. I have to do this, just work on what's feeling good for now. And the rest of the stuff's going to figure itself out.
Mm-hmm. And I do believe that. Like I do know that there's a lot more in front of me. And I'm trying not to live in that, because that's been part of my problem. Is like, I think anxiety is just, you're either living in the past or the future. And I'm really trying to just be in the present.
Yeah. Take the pressure off yourself. You're on the perfect schedule for you. And, you're just too smart to not figure this all out.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Well, thank you, Adam. What an incredible conversation. I appreciate you so much. I love having you here with me. I love you.
Invite me.
Yeah. Anytime. Thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. We're going to do the patron Q&A on Friday, a little bit later on in the afternoon. Rachel Lamont also coming up this weekend, and then Mary Hollins coming up next week. So lots of great stuff on the podcast. Adam, you're the best. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.